Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. So this is the third episode of the series How to Register a Company, because we're looking at the ease of doing business in the 54 African countries. And we've done Nigeria, how to register a company in Nigeria, how to register a company in Mozambique, and we are today looking at how to register a company in South Africa. And I've got a great friend here, Rapelang Motsumi, and he's going to be educating us on how to register a company in South Africa. And why how to register a company is because that is one of the basic processes of ease of doing business. We are looking at the World Bank data or research or report, if you like, on ease of doing business. So again, I've got a great friend, a great associate, and highly experienced business consultant in South Africa in the name of Rapelang Motsumi. Rapelang, thank you. I call him Raps. Is there any other person that calls you Raps?
A lot of them.
Oh, really?
They just shortened it. A lot of them.
So I call him Raps, and thank you so much for joining me. So you're going to be educating us and sharing insights, on how to register a company in South Africa. Please introduce yourself to the subscribers or audience.
Hello everyone, my name is Rapelang Motsumi from the Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Company, which has been there for 10 years, servicing small businesses.
1 decade.
And definitely we are celebrating this year our 10th year anniversary, which is quite exciting, and that will be happening in April. Big celebration coming,
advance.
Online COVID style celebration that is upcoming. So more information to follow on that. But the company has basically been evolving over the years, and I have also been involved in multiple of other business interests. So be it telecommunication, multimedia production, music and entertainment, and many other business interests. So, but more of that information can be, followed on one of the videos that we did when we covered my personal journey of entrepreneurship on the 67 CEO.
It's actually on my personal YouTube channel.
Yes.
Sam Apata. Go and check Sam Apata or Sam Apata YouTube channel. Subscribe and check the playlist My Entrepreneurship Journey. So Rapelang has shared his story, how he got into entrepreneurship, some of the wins, some of the challenges. And I strongly believe that you are going to learn a lot from his story. So, ease of doing business and how to register a company in South Africa. So, I've been following the World Bank report on ease of doing business. And it will interest you to know that there is no, in the top 10 of ease of doing business globally, there is no single African country. And for me personally, as an African and also as a business person, it's unacceptable. It's disheartening, if you permit me to use that word, because you and I would agree that it is key that government in African countries should make it easier for individuals, young people to start their business. So I've been following the report for the past 2-3 years now. However, this year I thought, I would take it upon myself to bring light into it, especially when it comes to Africa. And most importantly, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, whereby we can say, let's call attention to ease of doing business. But we're going to unpack all of that. But I just want to share some statistics here, according to that report. So since we're looking at how to register a company in South Africa, starting a business in South Africa So starting a business, South Africa is ranked 139 out of 190. That is very low. Did they research or surveyed, 190 countries, and South Africa is ranked 139. We need to move that higher. And like I said, an African country should be in top 10, in my own opinion. And the way to do that is for the government and policymakers to be able to put the proper policies and making it easier for people to be able to register their business. So, I know that because we're based in South Africa, I know that the institution or the government agency that is in charge of registering a company in South Africa is CIPC. What is CIPC?
All right, maybe just before, let me just comment something on what you just said.
Okay.
So I know that obviously the ease of doing business cover a range of other categories through which they measure different countries, but let me just hone it into issues of registration and formalization and all of that. So I think there, in terms of starting a business where you have to formalize it, we are much more better than many countries in as far
Africa,
as
absolutely.
Yeah, in as far as the process are concerned. But even in my view, globally, if you look at how to register a company in China, it's a nightmare. In the US, it's a nightmare. All the major established countries, it doesn't take as short as this and as less costly as we have in South Africa. So, but I know that all of the ease of doing business will include policy, infrastructure, and many other things. But I just wanted to comment on the company registration side of things.
Definitely.
So in terms of the registration, it has been simplified, or I should say oversimplified, such that any layman can do it for themselves.
Okay.
A man on the street can register for themselves, and it doesn't require any education, no qualification, no any understanding of any business or technology. Anyone can just register for themselves. It's unlike in many countries that are first world countries where you still need an accountant, you still need a lawyer, you still need a consultant to do so, and it's extremely very expensive. And if you can run through
the one I did with the gentleman in Mozambique, I was moved to tears. Considering how tedious rather the process is.
Exactly. So in South Africa, and maybe that's where I need to start it so that I paint the entire concept or context.
Yeah.
So we have now the New Companies Act of 71 of 2008,
sure,
which replaced 61 of 1973, I believe. So where the closed corporations used to be dominant entity types, where we still had that Closed Corporation Act, which is still in effect until today. So, but since we have shifted from into the New Companies Act,
sure,
a lot of the face of business has changed in as far as the legislative framework is concerned, where amongst other things, the registration process has been oversimplified. And now we have moved from the closed corporation into now the major dominant entity becoming the private companies, which we'll go into details about what's the difference between those. The various entities that you can register for. So the processes have been simplified and then have been made less costly and have been shortened in terms of the time spent. So what it all takes you to register a company is to just start first having a CIPC account. So you can set up an account. The CIPC is the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. So initially we had CIPRO. So I had the pleasure of working in the whole registration in the old Companies Act when it was still CIPRO. I know how the processes were.
1 decade is enough to
so I have the institutional memory of understanding of how all that used to
advanced,
be, before, and I can attest that a lot has improved, and especially now that a lot of processes have been digitized, and it has been fast-tracked in terms of the turnaround time. So the first thing, you go into the CIPC account, CIPC.co.za.
Sure.
So you create an agent account or a customer account.
Okay.
So it's going to issue you with a customer code, and then you will have the password for that. You log in into the website.
Yes.
So you will find an option to register. So once you click the option to register, it will take you through the process of how you can register. Hence, I'm saying you can do it for yourself.
Yes.
So the first thing that you can do is to reserve a name. So where there's a name reservation process,
okay,
where 4 names will be required. And then after the 4 names are required, and then you will be able to now, after the name has been accepted,
sure,
proceed to now do a file for company registration.
How many names do you have to?
So you need a maximum of 4 names.
Okay.
So that
it used to be 6 names.
It used to be 6 names under the old one.
Yeah.
So but now that has been shortened. So just to simplify the whole process. So now after you are registered, then obviously the turnaround time is very short. So that can be anything within hours, a day. It just depends on the backlog. If they don't have the backlog, it's a matter of hours. If there's a backlog, it can be a day or maybe a week. But it has been much more reliable ever since everything has been moved online.
Okay.
And there's also an option of going to the service centers that they have set up all over the country, where you can be assisted in terms of registration. So you go there, everything is online. They don't take any paper from you. You don't give them any paper. It's all in the system that you are able to register your company. So in terms of the costs,
yes.
So the name reservation is 50 rands just to reserve a name.
Sure.
And then the company registration cost is 125. That is when you are doing it yourself.
All right.
So, but if you are doing it through a consultant, an accountant, a lawyer, so they will charge you their fees. But in South Africa, it is very easy for someone to register for themselves. Unlike in many countries where you can't even effect a registration for yourself because of the onerous process that it takes.
Thank you very much for sharing that, and you've actually covered most of my questions. However, take us through. Okay, you've taken us through some of the part of the process of registering. You submit a name. You wait 1 hour or 2, depending on how busy the system is. So, what's the difference between a company, an NGO, or a trust? Or maybe the question is, what are the requirements, for a registered company, an NGO, or a trust? Or you can take us through how this applies within the CIPC processes or the Company Act.
Yeah. So in South Africa, in our business environment, we have various entity types.
Sure.
So we have the sole proprietor. You can wake up and just start operating. You don't have to register. You don't have to formalize. So those are your informal traders and people that are not necessarily operating within the formal economy. So they are not registered. But obviously, the only thing is that you and the business are one.
Sure.
And then it's very difficult to also access assistance in terms of funding, in terms of being credit worthy from the financial institutions and all of that when you are a sole proprietor. And then there are now companies. So companies, we also have different companies.
Okay.
So the first company we have is a private company.
Yes.
So it can be registered by one person and to just infinity. And then the number 2, we have the incorporated companies.
Sure.
So those are companies that are reserved for only people in specific professions.
I see.
So incorporated company, you will see it ends with Inc. Or it will end with now PLC.
I see.
So because it's personal liability companies. So and that one, it can be registered by lawyers, accountant, and engineers, so those specific professions. And then you have another company, which is a public company.
Okay.
So the public company, those are companies that sell public shares.
Ah.
So the public shares can either be listed or unlisted. So you can raise your own prospectus if you don't want to list, and then get the public to invest in your company.
Okay.
Or you can go into the stock market and list your public company, because it can list public shares and then trade those shares publicly, and then use the stock market, whether a JSE or main board, alternative exchange, and many other stock exchange. There are now online stock exchanges and all of that. Very interesting. So you can take it there. And then another one is the state-owned enterprise or state-owned company.
Okay.
So that is the one now for the government institutions, your ESCOM, your SABC, and all those JNELs and many of them. And then now you have also another category, which is the non-profit company.
Sure.
So with the non-profit company, you will have the non-profit companies that are normally registered under the CIPC, which are called the non-profit company. They used to be Section 21 companies, but under the new Companies Act, now they are NPCs. And then there is now also non-profit company, non-profit organization. So that is registered under the Department of Social Development.
Okay.
So separate registration, separate piece of legislation altogether, because the non-profit organization is governed by the Non-Profit Organization Act. So they're not governed under the Companies Act. Even its compliance is very different.
It's interesting.
And then we also have other entities such as trusts.
Okay.
So trusts are not been registered with the CIPC as well. So they are registered with the Master of the High Court.
Okay.
And then trusts normally maybe would need a lawyer, an accountant, or an experienced person to set up.
So to register, to register a trust, you don't have to go to the CIPC website.
No, you won't find anything about trust there, because they are registered with the Master of the High Court, and you have to set up a trust deed. So that's why most of the people use lawyers and accountants to do that.
To be able to do that.
The main thing is to set up that trust deed, which is the constitutional document that governs the trust. So, and there are also many other legalities that can be complex, that at least if you have a legally competent person, they can be able to advise you in a much more progressive way than doing it yourself. So those are mainly and then there are cooperatives as well. Cooperatives, a minimum of 5 people have to come together, set up a cooperative. That encouraged a lot by the government, because there are so many initiatives that helped various communities through cooperatives. Because if you are touching a cooperative, you are touching 5 lives at once, and then you are putting so many bread on the table of multiple people. So cooperatives, where people come together, they join their resources, and then they join in their strengths. They have one common economic goal that they are advancing as a collective, to ensure that they empower one another, and thereby setting up a cooperative.
If you want to set up a cooperative, do you have to go through CIPC?
It's registered through the CIPC, so members can register there on the CIPC.
So in all the company types that you've mentioned, or entity types that you've mentioned, only trust and NGO that you don't have to go to CIPC.
Yes.
The rest you have to. Interesting. So in your opinion, why is it important to formalize a business entity? So you have an idea and you want to start a business. Why is it important to register the company?
I think it's very important, number one, to be formalized. If you're operating in the formal economy, you can access opportunities that are available in the formal economy, because you are formalized. And also, those opportunities we are talking about, being able to be funding ready, access funding, access credit, and be able to be recognized by various institutions. And some of the support is non-financial support, but you have to be compliant.
You have to be compliant.
You have to submit all those compliance requirements to access those opportunities. So that is one reason. And also, other than that, it's just for you to just, for a matter of perception. I always say, business impression and perception. So if you are registered,
Yes.
you are more recognized and people perceive you to be a legitimate business.
Or serious, as it
Or
were.
a serious business. You know, it's almost like when you are not registered, people don't take you as a legitimate business.
Sure.
It's not a must to register or incorporate a company in order to run a business because it's a constitutional right to run a business. So you can do so, registered or unregistered.
And that's where the sole proprietorship
That's
comes
where
in.
the sole proprietorship comes from because it's a constitutional right. So it doesn't matter whether you are registered or you can start it. But however, the benefits of being
Formalized,
registered
yes.
outweighs the one of when one is not registered.
So you
especially
encourage people to formalize their business.
Exactly, especially from the governance perspective, you know, it's very important to be considered as a business.
All right, so let's take one of the business types, you know, as let's discuss one of them, which is the PTY Limited.
Yeah.
You know, take us through the process and how much it costs, you know, from A to Z to register such business or company.
A private company normally ending with that PTY Ltd, Proprietary Limited. So it's a limited liability company as well, to say that you and the business are separate legal persona. So it means that the business has a life of its own and the owner has a life of their own. So, and they are protected from the liabilities of the business. So that's all what it means.
Sure.
So then the process of incorporating, as we have explained, is the same thing of going to the CIPC website, get registered there, reserve a name for 50 rands, and register for 50 rands. And now, interestingly, there is a portal now on CIPC. So there's a government portal on the CIPC, alternatively where
The BizPortal.
The BizPortal, where you can register once for most of the other compliance requirements with other institutions as well.
Like?
So when you register in the BizPortal, you will be able to have your company registered. You will also be able to have your BBBE. That's another topic for another day. BBBE, or broad-based black economic empowerment, which is here in South Africa to ensure that it's an affirmative action policy that is out there to empower the previously disadvantaged people. But that's a topic for another day. So the portal also enables you to get a bank account.
Okay.
And then it enables you to also register for the UIFs and all of that.
Oh, so it's like a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop to comply with various institutions to ensure that it's all in there.
So when you mentioned UIF, so it means it includes labor and all of that?
Yes, the labor issues and all of that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
So all integrated in one system. You can also register domain name, all that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
So all one-stop shop for all the compliance.
And how much is that in total for a PTY Limited?
So if you go in there and register on the portal,
on the BizPortal.
On the BizPortal, it will still charge you 175.
Okay.
Excluding that, when you register with the banks, obviously there will be banking fees that apply. But specifically for the company registration, coming out of the BE and all other necessary things, that will only cost you 175 rands.
That's like $11 to $12.
Yeah, somewhere there. Very, very, very affordable. I was sitting with a consultant who raised a business in China, and it's just a nightmare. And I was just shocked to see the process, the cost, the limitation. You can register only in this region. You can't operate in other regions of China with that registration. So
there are a lot of roadblocks there.
All sorts of things. So, but in South Africa, very simple process, and also when you register, it's unrestricted in terms of services. You register a business, you are able to operate in any industry, any sector, which is very different from how it operates with other countries, where every industry,
Yes.
you have to do a business registration for
specific.
manufacturing, for technology, for all sorts of things.
I'm getting what you're saying, that the government is trying a lot to make sure that starting a business is easy or easier for the citizen. Interesting. I mean, I think it's a good segue, because you mentioned China and the bottlenecks that are required or involved in registering a business there. So the question is, can a non-South African incorporate a company in South Africa?
Yeah, there is an option for the non-South Africans to register the companies there. The system doesn't restrict them. So you register. I know that there's a huge confusion around foreign nationals as it applies to the immigration laws and all of that,
okay,
which we won't get into.
Sure.
But obviously, just first understand what are the limitations of what the immigration laws say in terms of how you can operate a business in South Africa.
Sure.
So, but in terms of the registration process itself,
yeah,
it doesn't restrict anyone from applying for a company registration from wherever they are in the world and get a company registered in South Africa.
Yeah.
So obviously there will be more other things of compliance, with SARS and the bank accounts and all of that. So all of those other compliance issues will clear up as you now move to the bank.
Sure.
There will be a very different treatment if you go to SARS as well, in terms of how tax will work,
yes,
when you're in South Africa, when you're not in South Africa,
yes,
all of those things, they will apply in terms of the tax laws.
No, thank you very much. So a non-South African can register a business in South Africa.
And very easy, same process as South African.
Interesting. Would you encourage young people to start a company?
Of course.
Why?
I started my company while I was still in university, when I was in my third year, I think. And then I wasn't ready to trade at the time, but I thought I was ready. I was excited. I got it registered. And that was 2009. So 2 years after that, I had completed my study. I started the same company that I registered. And the company that I registered as a student is still the one that I operate today.
Wow.
Which has transitioned. And today it has really grown to be where it is. But when the idea came,
yes, that
I want to be a businessman, I wanted to be an entrepreneur while I was still studying, I moved immediately to do what?
To register a company. And the reason why I asked the question is because there are a lot of young people, out there that have an idea.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's usually the genesis, of starting a business or with the intention of wanting to register the company. But the challenge is they want to remain informal.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier that part of the benefits of, formalizing your business is the benefits, that come with it, there are non-finance support, or business development resources that are out there. But if you are not formal, or if you have not formalized your business, you can't partake or participate in those opportunities. So you are again encouraging young people that they should register their business or company.
Exactly, because it can be a prerequisite to accessing so many opportunities. And as you said, that we also just to position you as someone who's serious about growth, because it sets you up for growth and assurance that this is a serious, legitimate business that we are dealing with. So from that kind of assurance, anyone can trust you to deal with, because they know there's a separate entity that is really transacting with them, that is handling whatever transaction that they're getting into.
No, thank you very much. When ease of doing business, is taken seriously in Africa, how would that impact on the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that trade is an enabler and is the one that will lead us to African economic freedom.
Sure.
And to ensure that there are processes set up to make it easy for various countries to trade with one another.
Nationalities,
nationality to trade with each other. And entrepreneurs also to be able to do business with each other is extremely important. And I believe that in terms of the legal frameworks that also operate within the continent should also be adjusted, should be adjusted accordingly to ensure that things such as registrations and all of that, they are simplified, so that if I'm here and I want to register anywhere in Africa countries while I'm here, I can just do so. If I wake up and say I want to register a company in all the 54 countries while I'm in South Africa, I don't have to go there.
Portal.
I don't have to go there. I don't have to go there, travel, or I don't have to consult lawyers or agency there to be able to do that. I should be able to do it while I'm here, and with very minimal cost.
Sure.
So you can imagine if I have to consult various agencies and lawyers and account in all those countries, how much that cost will be. And that's why I believe that in South Africa, it still allows anyone in the world to register with the same cost.
No, I totally agree
with
with
the same
you.
cost as a South African.
I totally agree with you, and you will complete your thought on that one. And I just want to bring it to light that indeed, the South African government has worked, and they've done a great job when it comes to making starting a business or registration of business or companies in South Africa very easy. I can totally attest to that. And as a great benchmark of a country or a nation in Africa, if other African countries can adopt the same system or emulate or consult, and then make it easier to be able to, if I'm in Congo, if I'm in whichever country in Africa, being able to register a company, then it's easier for me to be able to say, I want to move my product or services into that region.
Yes. And the thing that is holding that process is because when you look at the company laws in those countries, they would not allow that. So, and if you look at the company laws of especially many African countries, they haven't even been updated to meet the current demands of the current phase of business, and they have not even been updated to international standards and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it makes it very difficult for even that to happen. So South Africa, prior to the Act 71 of 2008, so we were using 61 of 1973. So many decades, and using a law that was drafted when technology was not even there as an enabler. So it means that
it was
73.
73. Even Apple wasn't, a company by then.
Exactly.
Apple Inc.
We were not even
Microsoft
born.
was not.
We were not even born.
We were not even born.
So it would mean that that law is not updated with the current technology to enable even the registration processes and digitization of that entire process. So it wouldn't support that. And many of these countries, they are not able to even move with the digital process because there's still a backlog when coming to what their legislation or the law informs those processes and the regulations and everything. So it's all those things that needs to be changed so that technology can come in as an enabler and fast track the process. And I think in South Africa, one thing that we do well is to keep updating some of those laws. Look at what's happening with our revenue collection system. Very well digitized. Actually, when e-filing was built and completed, I have a reliable I heard it from the reliable source that it became the best in the world.
Wow.
Our e-filing here in South Africa. And it's all those things that are supported by the current legislation to be able to support the modern technology and a way of doing things, so that there used to be a lot of paperwork.
Yes.
Now paperwork has been minimized.
Yes.
And then everything has been digitized. The Companies Act support and allows that. Unlike in another African country where their law has not been updated for the past 20, 30, 40 years.
So
and you can't bring technology into that whole
play,
process.
you know, and we're using this opportunity to advocate, you know, and also encourage the African leaders, you know, in which country that they ease of doing business or starting or registering a company. We're using this platform to be able to say, get to work and make it easier for young people, most especially, and you know, the citizens in general, to be able to start and register their company. So now that anyone can register a company in South Africa, regardless of where they are, rural or urban area, how is that impacting your kind of business? Or in other words, those that used to assist people, the agents that used to assist people to register companies, how are they, you know, I would believe that the revenue from that aspect of business has drastically dropped.
No, definitely, because now the process is such that anyone can do it for themselves wherever they are. You don't even have to travel. You don't have to go to any government office.
When was the last time someone came to you to register a company?
Well, it's just repeat business of clients that I serve, but it's no longer even a core business because I've moved into other business interests, and simply also because of some of those things being disrupted by technology and
disrupted. That's the word.
Exactly. That you are no longer able to grow revenues in those areas where clients can do those things for themselves.
Yes.
So, but you can still advise. You can still do more other things that are beyond just a normal registration.
Or within the company.
Exactly. You can still train on the content. You can still offer that kind of service now as a training product. So you pivot as you have been disrupted. So you just have to be smart like that.
Interesting. Talk about disruption. So young people, if you're out there, you know, quickly disrupt yourself before you are disrupted. That's what you're saying.
No, exactly. That's a nice one.
So, would you encourage people from outside South Africa to register a company in South Africa? And if yes, why?
Yeah, of course. I believe that. You can capture the South African market with online solutions that you provide without being here, but running and having a South African market. Maybe it will also be great to partner with a local South African company so that some of the compliance issues may not be hindrance, such as opening a bank account and doing other compliance related issues, but still be able to service the South African market and have a footprint here while you don't even have to come here and run a business here. So yeah, South Africa is open for business.
Yes, that's what I want. Thank you for plugging that in. That's exactly where I'm driving at, and the reason for that question.
Exactly. South Africa is open for business, and you can with whatever service or product that you have, enter the South African market and be able to render your services or sell your products. And then the ease of doing business is there. The processes are much more simpler, much more cost effective as well. And there are also many other institutions that can assist you, like the GGTA, if you're really a big investor and all of that. So investors, as they come, there are processes to really make it easy for them to be able to be connected with the right
and even the President Sam Apata, you know, is even big on foreign direct investment.
Foreign direct investment and all of that. So yeah, South Africa is open for business, foreign direct investment, and even when you're a small business, you want to launch a business and reach the market through online means, through digital means.
Yes.
So that is still open, and if you still want to maybe formalize that process and follow South African laws, that is also very easy to do. So South Africa is open for business. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, Rapelang, for coming through and sharing those powerful insights. I've learned a lot, and I believe you have also learned a lot. Please subscribe to the channel. And what's your parting shot?
Yeah, all I can say is that it's very important to keep observing the changes that are happening and how easy certain things are, and especially going to the CIPC website. All information is there about how to do whatever you want to do, and it has been enabled for you to be able to do it for yourself, and seamless and very, very easy. And also the ease of doing business has really, from that perspective, has been improved quite a lot. I know that there's still many other areas, maybe there still need to be a lot on policy, infrastructure, and many other areas of ease of doing business. But in this specific area, I think there has been a lot of improvements, simply because everything has been digitalized to enable ease and faster turnaround time. So yeah, thank you very much for the invite to come share our expertise and to be able to join with the audience from home and the YouTube subscribers. So we are grateful to be at their service.
Yes.
So our website is launching.
Please share your contact details. People might want to.
TEEC.Africa is coming, and then you can get in touch with us at Rapelang at TEEC.Africa.
Okay.
And then you can also go to rapelangmotsumi.com, and I believe that you'll be able to put some of those details for them to see what we are all about, and then how we can be of assistance to them, and we will be more than willing to have a great assistance to them. And thank you very much for the invite.
No, you're welcome.
And to the work that 670 is doing.
No,
amazing, amazing work. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Rapelang. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Subscribe, comment, and share the video. Thanks. God bless.
Thank you.